I'm sorry. Nice to see you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Have a good evening, everyone. How are you? We're doing Parashat Shlach, and we know that when the spies came from Israel, they started whining and complaining and crying. Bukhari, they call it noshkuri, you know, when you sit and complain for no reason, right? And so this is what we're going to speak about. And so there was this lady by the name Rivka. And Rivka, she, Baruch Hashem, married off her daughter. And after a while, she also married off her son. And she was so happy that Baruch Hashem, they built their own homes and everything is good. Once, you know, she went to visit her daughter. She came there and she spent some time there, and she was so pleased when she left the house, because she saw that her son-in-law is so compassionate, he's so caring. He comes and he brings her a cup of coffee in the morning to the bed. He washes dishes. He puts the laundry into the laundry machine. He cleans here and there, whatever. And she was so happy that Baruch Hashem, her daughter fell in a good place. Later on, she went to visit her son's house, okay? And when she came home, she told her husband, you know something? I feel so bad that our son, his wife is not the best woman, because he's the one that needs to bring a coffee to the bed. He's the one that needs to put the laundry. Okay, he's the one that washes dishes. He's the one that does all stuff. Poor baby, you know, didn't fall in the right place. What happened here? Okay, same thing, but there were different outlook. The way that we see certain things, okay, it's in our mind how we want to look at things. You know, we hear certain things, how we want to hear it. You know, we have selecting hearing, we have selecting seeing, and so. We have we think that we may think about the spies in the Parsha that they were all full of ego. This spies, that they spoke slander, lashon hara about Israel, that they were whining for no reason. They lacked faith. They didn't have emunah. Okay, and therefore they started to speak this way. Very, very interesting people that were talking and thinking about their behalf only, because they thought that they would not be leaders in Israel anymore, or what type of life they are going to have in Israel. But aren't we like that too? We also sometimes look at a certain way, the way that we want to see, okay, and whine or complain about certain things, because the way that we perceive certain things. And many times we ignore from all the good that we have, and we concentrate on few of the bad that we have, okay? And that's a wrong thing. They say ungrateful people complain about the one thing, okay, you haven't done for them, instead of being thankful for all the thousands of things that you have done for them. They focus on one thing, okay? And so when we have to see at things, it's very important how we look at things. Rabbi Migur, Baal Pnei Menachem, he passed away already some years ago. So once a very, very big specialist, a doctor, you know, eye doctor, came to visit him to get his blessing before he goes to, they had this worldwide convention for all the optometrists and ophthalmologists and all those people who deal with the eye. And so he was about to go to this convention, and he asked the rabbi's blessing before he leaves to this convention. The rabbi was very interested, and he asked him, if, let's say, a certain doctor would come to he would will have a breakthrough to a certain innovation or certain discovery in the eyes, in the medicine of the eyes, or anything, would he share it with his colleagues? Would these doctors share this knowledge with the other colleagues in this convention? Usually this is how it's done. So the doctor said, not necessarily, not always they expose, because they want to keep the fame to themselves. They want to keep, all the money that will come to their innovations and their medicine, the development, whatever. They want to keep it for themselves. Not always they share it. The rabbi said that the key for healing the eye is when the caregiver, when the doctor himself has a good eye. Good eye means that he wants to, he looks at the benefits of the patients, of the...
Okay, positive way.
Exactly, to see this in a positive way, but also to really care, to really want to help those people. If they keep, the knowledge to themselves, they don't really want to share some of the things that they found out, they're not really good doctors. They don't really care about the patient, they care about their own money, about their own, income. So the doctor really did that, and when it was his time to speak, he mentioned what his rabbi said. Right after him was supposed to speak a doctor from Yugoslavia, okay, in Europe, and he did he had a certain innovation, and he said, listen, I didn't really want to expose whatever I came up to, or I found something, I discovered something, but because of the former speaker from Israel and the advice of his rabbi, I do want to share with you something that I found out. And this is when he shared with the people, with all the other doctors, something that I discovered that he made something interesting, whatever. This is the key, to have Ayin Tova, okay, to think about the others, to be compassionate with people, because this is the only way. And so I'm sure that you have a lot of complaints about your husband, and he has a lot of complaints about you, because this is marriage. That's normal, that's okay when people complain about one another. And we love complaining, and we don't even pay attention that we do. We think we're the greatest, but there's a long way to go to become perfect. And really, if you think about this, the intention of the woman that complains to her husband is positive. The intention is good. She wants to share things with her husband. She doesn't realize that slowly it becomes negative, but she really wants to share with him, things that she went through the day, that happened to her, something that somebody told her, or something that happened to somebody else, or whatever, news that she heard. The woman is a type of a person that likes to share. Okay, guys, they're very reserved, but women usually they like to share. So it's something good, and but sometimes those complainings that we do can annoy the other person, the husband, because the husband gets it as blame. You complain about something, it means that I was wrong, or I didn't do my share, or that it's my fault, and so many times they don't like it. And it drains the energy out. They become weak, they become tired from this. They don't want to hear sometimes, the complaints and whatever you want to say, your remarks, your comments, or whatever. And it's hard for him many times to listen, to have, to care, of what you say, to show, okay, that he understands what you say. And then you go back to the starting point. You were upset about something, and you wanted to complain about this thing, and now that he doesn't really want to listen, it frustrates you more, and you become even more bitter, and there's nobody to talk to, and hello, you wake up already. So here's an example. Your husband comes home at 7 o'clock in the evening, let's say. So usually, what the husbands do when they come home, they found the first, the couch or armchair or whatever they could put their body on. They either pick up their legs or just relax, open their computer or newspaper or something, dwell into it, okay, and that's it. And you are in the kitchen. Kids are flying. They may fight about a certain toy, about something that doesn't matter. He doesn't care. You're in the kitchen. There's so many things to do. You also had a tough day. You also had a lot of things on your mind today. And he sits and he thinks like he reads like there's nothing to do, and you are getting so upset. You're so nervous. So in the beginning you keep quiet. You don't say anything. It's and this thing builds up in your body, this anger, and then you steam out. And then you come to him and tell him, "Hello, why are you sitting on the chair? Don't you see that they're fighting? Can you help me here? Can you maybe do the supper with me? Maybe." So of course he gets up and he helps with the kids. He calms them down. He plays with them or something. Then they eat all of them dinner, and then he even helps to shower them or to put them to sleep. Okay, no problem. But then, when it's 9 o'clock and the house is quiet and the kids are asleep, and you want to come and start talking to him, because that's what women do. Women like to talk to their husbands. He doesn't want to talk. Kind of pushes you away. And you're like, "Excuse me, why?" Because he's hurt from the way that you managed him, the way that you conducted with him before. You were so bossy. You were ordering, commanding him, "Get up, do this, do that, why are you sitting on?" The tone of your voice shows that there's lack of appreciation, that there's lack of respect, that you were all into yourself and you didn't think about him. This is when they get hurt. This is why sometimes they shut up. This is why sometimes they don't want to share, they don't want to communicate, and it bothers you. Why is not communicating? Why is not understanding? Why isn't he coming close? Doesn't he want to share also? He had so many things doing. He was out the whole day. Can't he come and share? He cannot come and share when you feel that everything that he tells you, you're on top of him. Yeah, he may tell you, "I had a tough day with my boss. My boss says, but your boss was right. Why did you come late?" Or you're rebuking him also, commenting on everything that he does. Why should he want to share? He doesn't want to share when he hears on top of it later on, things, your comments. So they're not so much into sharing. And so what do you do now? This is the time that you have to communicate. Very important how you communicate. Yeah, talk to him about this. Tell him, "Listen, I'm sorry that I said it very loud before the kids, that I said something wrong, and I really had a tough day. Please, understand me. I'm going to try to work on myself," or something. He will tell you that he didn't like a certain specific sentence that you said. You will tell him something else, and Bezat Hashem, things can work out. So here are 4 common complaints between husband and wife that are due to the gap, to the way that you have the perception of you and him is different. Okay. In your feelings, in the way that you see things. And so how we're going to solve these problems? If we're going to be understanding, okay? So this is what we're talking about. Guy may say, "I feel bad that she is controlling me. She tells me, get up, sit down, to play with the kids, do this, help me here, help me there. I want to relax. I don't want to hear, I had a tough day." So she doesn't trust me. She's very bossy. And okay, what's the big deal? What did I ask from you? I just asked from you to change the light bulb. That's what I asked you. But you keep reminding him very often, and he keeps ignoring. And you say to yourself, but why is he ignoring? Doesn't this bother him too? Instead, be smart. Instead of reminding him constantly, change the light bulb, why don't you do this? Tell him, you know something? When the light is not so strong, I cannot really check the rice the right way because I don't really see. Or the green stuff, I don't really see if there's anything there. I really need the light. You think he's going to ignore you now? He's not going to ignore you. Why? Because you gave him a good reason why you need the light now. Why is it urgent? Why is it important? You don't want to wait 6 months for him to change this, right? You tell him, I feel unwanted. When your husband is ignoring you, he doesn't want to listen. You ask him so many times to fix that shelf, to fix that shelf, to fix that shelf. He doesn't fix that shelf. You feel that, you're not important, and whatever you say, he doesn't care. So, you have to understand that he doesn't ignore because he's not caring. Maybe it's something else in his mind. Maybe he thinks he does important stuff. Maybe he thinks that learning Torah is more important. Maybe he thinks that helping a friend now is more. Whatever he thinks. You can tell him, you know something, every time that you don't fix that shelf, I have to rearrange all the parts. Every time I have to take everything out until I find something, because there's a whole balagan over there. And therefore, the dinner is so late, because until I find something, he will consider fixing it much faster than he thought because of the approach now. He may, you may say, I don't feel, he may tell you, or you may tell him, I don't feel appreciated. And you think like that because, the last Shabbat, for example, you hosted his elder parents. You worked so hard to make sure that everything is perfect. You did the food that they like. You did the salads that they like. You bought the vegetables and the fruits that they like. And you set the table. You made sure the kids won't bother. You made sure that to give them the best bedroom. You make sure you did so much preparations before. And then you never heard any special compliment from him about that. And it bothers you. You do feel unappreciated. So talk to him about this. Tell him, listen, I came out of my way to really host your parents because I like when they come and I want you to feel good and happy and whatever. And you sometimes your husband doesn't appreciate. You say you may tell him something like, listen, many times I keep quiet and I don't say whatever bothers me just because I want to give in and I don't want to make a whole big deal of this, and you think that I accept it. But sometimes these things bother me. This is communication. When we express our feelings, not through screaming and yelling and blaming and accusing, but you're telling something like, how can you help me in this? Because I really need, something really bothers me and I don't know who to turn to. So this approach could be so much better, and he may consider whatever you're asking him to do, and try to say thank you whenever he does compliment you, because it's very important. Okay, so there was this Jewish person that had 8 children, grandma, and he was a poor. He couldn't provide so much. His wife, and another 10 people in the house. Tiny 2 rooms that they had, tiny little house, and it was overwhelming. He came once to the rabbi and said, Rabbi, what should I do? The house is so tiny. We're on top of each other. There's always noise. There's no tranquility. People on top of each other. No one of the kids have privacy. They cannot sit and do even homework, And the baby wakes up in the middle of the night. No one can fall asleep afterwards because it's so tiny. It's so there. Rabbi, what should I do? Give me an advice. The rabbi told him, do you have a goat outside the house? He said, yes. Bring the goat in. What? Simple Jewish person, he doesn't ask questions. He put the goat inside the house. He comes to the rabbi after a week. Rabbi, what did you do to me? It's 7 times worse now. This goat poops wherever he wants. He climbs on the tables. He breaks the plates and the cups. He runs after the kids. He tears. He eats all their notebooks. It's crazy. We don't have room for this. The rabbi said, "Oh, now I understand. Okay, so take out the goat." He did take out the goat, and after a week, the rabbi meets him in the shul and says, "No, how is the house now?" Ah, Rabbi, you don't understand. Such a good place. All of a sudden, the house is spacious. There's so much room. Everything is good. Why he changed his mind all of a sudden? Because we tend to focus on all the things that bothers us, and we don't really pay attention of all the good things that we have. So, because perspective is everything. It's not what you see, but it's the way you see things. And when we change the way that we look at things, the things that we're looking at will change. It's all in our mind. So happiness is in our minds, and if we decide to be happy, we will be happy. No one can change it. No one can take it from us. So now I want to ask you, what's the difference between a complaint and criticism? Any difference between them? So a complaint is something specific. You complain about one thing, okay? It bothers me, something bothers me right now. It bothers me that you didn't help me in a certain thing, yeah? And let's say you have a flat tire. And he said that he's going to fix that flat tire. He's going to take him to his friend or to the body shop or somewhere. He's going to fix it. And he didn't fix it. Already 1 week passed, 2 weeks passed. He didn't fix it yet. So this is something specific. So you complain about this thing. But if you say something like, but you never help me, but you're always like that. You're such a messy person. You're forgetful, or you don't remember what I say, and you don't care, and you're something general that you say. This is called criticism. Because sometimes we like to be very dramatic. It's really true that he's never caring, that he's always forgetting. Bemet, it's really true. You know that it's not true. So criticism, he doesn't want to accept because it's not true. It's not. It cannot be that he always like that. But if you're specific about something, or your complaint is specific about something, okay, you tell him, I really need to do some errands, and I don't have a way of doing that. I really need this to be taken care urgently, okay? Then it will be easier for him to take care of this. When people criticize, okay, it can come with contempt. When we do it in a frequent way, very, very often, constantly, we rebuke someone, okay? So, I knew I cannot trust you because you're not the address. I knew I had to turn only to my brother. Only my brother takes care of me or deals or does these things quickly. Or you said this kind of a remark. He's going to like to help you next time. Yeah? So, many times when he hears that, you know what happens? He gets into defense mode. He tries to defend it. But why did you say so? That's not true. Last year I did fix that shelf. Or last year I did it. I did you a favor and did something. So he doesn't want to, I'm busy with my stuff. Don't bother me. I have other things to do. He doesn't want to listen to these things. And then he shuts down. He shuts down. He doesn't want to hear. He's like into himself. Leave me alone. I'm with my computer. Forget about me. So, therefore, it's very important to know when you want to speak with him about something, to find the right time, and not when he's tired. Don't start talking to him when he just enters the house. When he enters the house, he's tired. His mind is overwhelmed with whatever he went through. Give him some time to relax. Let him eat something. Let him drink something. And then, later on, you're going to tell him, this and this happened. We got this letter in the mail. The school called and said, well, we have to pay tuition or something. Instead of being defensive, you have to tell him, I understand your anger. Let's think together, how could we solve it? Suggest a suggestion. What do you think? How could you solve the problem? Also, if there's any complaint, if there's any hurt, you try to finish it. Try to end it that same day. Don't leave those unsolved problems to the next day, because this tends to be a longer story, more frustration, more upset, and then things pile up on top of each other, and then it can lead to big fights, and you don't want to create such a big tension for such a long time. Okay? No need to do this. There was one building in Israel, and that many couples lived there peacefully. They really liked each other. Everything was okay. They were very, very friendly, even too much open. They would talk about anything, everything, everybody in that building and beyond. And they thought that they're too friendly, so sometimes, you allow yourself to say all kind of stuff, you allow yourself to say lashon hara, you allow yourself to gossip about people. And slowly, this rebukes, these gossips, this slander became more severe and more harsh, and sometimes even more open. And then they realized that something gets wrong in that building. A woman, one of the neighbors, had a premature baby, and lo alenu, they had to take him to the hospital. Blah, blah, blah. After 4 months, he didn't survive, passed away. Another neighbor, after a few months later, had a boy, Down syndrome, that had a Down syndrome. Very difficult, very devastated. Many other kids. Who pays attention to this one? Some time passed, another problem, or another neighbor had a certain disease. She had to fly urgently to the United States to get some treatment. So they felt already that something's getting wrong in that building, too much problems. So they decided maybe we should really work on ourselves, not to gossip so much. So they decided to have a class once a week or something. After a week, they forgot about those kabbalot that they took upon themselves to get better, to improve, this and that, and they started to speak as usual about people. And then another strike in that building. Lo alenu, one of the ladies had a herniated disc, very severe one. Went through so many operations in her back. The doctors couldn't really restore her health. She stayed, half paralyzed, not healthy, and whatever. This is when they thought that they really have to do something about this. They decided to take upon themselves to learn Shmirat HaLashon lessons, guard your tongue, how not to speak. Sometimes when you know the laws and you know the halachot, it's easier to keep it. When you don't know the halachot, you don't know what's allowed, what's not allowed. Twice a week they decided to take upon themselves to go to these classes. Then they decided also to take upon themselves, which is very, very helpful, all of them, 24 hours during the day, not to speak lashon hara. So everyone took 2 hours. Everyone took 2 hours. The 2 hours that she thinks she had the hardest time to speak, these are the times that she took. One took between 5 and 7. This is the time that the kids are coming, that the husband is coming, and sometimes she's outside until the kids go to sleep. This is when she's talking the most. Someone said, no, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I call my mom, I call my sisters, I want to ask what happens, and we sit and we talk about the family and the events and whatever. Some say this, some say that. Whatever, they try to cover 24 hours, which was very, very helpful. And then they saw slowly how salvations come, how the building starts to be tranquil again, tranquility, peaceful, not problems every second, not diseases, and so on and so on. So they turned their very, very open and friendly relationship to something that will be constructive and assisting. They started to help around people that need help in their building. Maybe I could assist, this lady that became paralyzed. Maybe I could assist this family that she just, they had this premature, so I'll take care of the kids, I'll be this. Started to be affectionate for one another, doing chesed, This is when things started to turn over. Michael and Jessica came to a rabbi for a consultation. So very, very classic problems that they had. Michael says, I don't ask much from my wife. I really don't ask a lot. I'm out of the house most of the day. What do I ask from her already? That whenever I come back home, I want a warm, hot meal. I want to sit and relax something. And what do I ask from her already? And she's like, you see, Rabbi, he just thinks about himself. He comes home, he wants to relax. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't ask me how was my day, what did I go through, if I really need his help in something. And I cannot really turn to him. I cannot really ask him anything because he's all into himself. And the guy gets into her sentence and says, yeah, and you don't ask me how was my day and what did I go through and blah blah blah. And so the rabbi started to see that he told them that your complaints about each other don't really bring you close to each other, separates you, distances you, and you feel disappointed about each other. There's a separation between you, and this is not what couples needs to feel. Couples needs to feel that there's a connection between them. Couple needs to feel that there's closeness between them, not separation. And so he asked them to, first of all, be aware of their own needs, and once you know what you need, what you want, then you could then you can refer or talk about your needs to the other side, to your husband. Some people complain, some couples complain because they like this feeling of being miserable. Now, if you're going to tell me, of course I'll tell you, no, I don't like it. Of course we're going to deny it. But back inside, in our hearts, sometimes you think that you're the victim, and therefore you're allowing yourself to complain about everything, because you believe that you didn't get in this relationship whatever you deserve. You look and compare. You're seeing your friends. You're seeing your cousin. From the outside, everything looks sparkling and beautiful there. You don't know what's inside their relationship, but from the outside, it looks good. And you say to yourself, I don't deserve this relationship from him. I deserve something better. And there's a lot of fun in being miserable, because it's all about me. It's about my pain. And you call your friend, you see how bad it is. You see how sad I am. You see how I feel bad. And it's all around. You have a story. You have something to share. And but this feeling pity of yourself, this misery that you dwell in, doesn't really let you grow. Doesn't really make you be happy, because you're hiding all the strengths that you have. Instead of working on yourself, instead of taking out all the strength that you have, you feel that the whole reality is against you, and there's nothing you can do about this, and it's not true. You don't put all your strength in this relationship. You think that you're miserable. So it will be very important if we're going to change our outlook. Let me tell you something, that most of the people would act differently than this lady. See how this lady looked at this, and which realization she came to. She was divorced, and she had one boy, okay, from this previous marriage. And this boy, lo aleno, became very, very sick. He had a terrible disease. He had to go through chemo. He had to go through all kind of treatment. And she was in the hospital day and night, day and night. The doctors told her, nothing that we can do. We cannot really do anything. There was a Jewish person in the other rooms there that, was there for a different reason. He saw her, that she really suffers there, and he told her, you know something? Take a siddur and pray. She had to travel to South America for treatment. for some reason, I don't know why. He gave her a siddur, and he told her, pray. She didn't even know what's a siddur. She wasn't a religious girl, a woman. She didn't know what to do with this, how to pray. He told her, take it. He explained it a little bit, and she started to read it. She read it from cover to cover. She read what you say when you see a lightning and a thunder. She recited all kind of brachot that are not needed for every day, all kind of stuff for holidays, for these, for fast days, whatever, all through the year. She read everything. And then after 24 hours, her son died. And you said to yourself, where are all these prayers? This woman really tried all her best. She was so innocent. She took it and she took up on herself. What else Hashem wants, huh? But what we see here, we see that this lady was supposed to be broken, was supposed to be devastated, was supposed to be bitter and upset now, to get into depression. Instead, amazingly, she felt that these prayers that she did, the prayers she said, elevated her, exalted her. She felt so good reading those psalms, reading those all kind of prayers that she read there. She felt security all of a sudden. She felt tranquility. She felt peace inside her neshama, and she wanted to read more of this. She wanted to know more of that. She wanted to learn more. So she went back to Israel, where she came from. She understood what's the message that Hashem wanted to convey to her. She started to learn, to acquire, to ask, more about Judaism, more about prayers, more about mitzvot, more about the Torah. Became a religious woman, got married again, had 8 stunning kids, yeah? All because she decided to change her outlook. Most people will feel devastated. Most people will fall and not get up from there. Or say to themselves, Judaism is not for me. She did it, she did the opposite. She saw, the hidden message, and she took advantage of this. She learned from this. Shlomo Melech said something interesting. It says, Mishlei, he says something like that. It's in hard Hebrew, even in Hebrew it's hard to understand. Delef tored beyom sagrir ve'eshen medanim nishtava. He says that if you have a leaking roof in your house in a rainy day, it's equal to your wife if she keeps fighting, she keeps complaining, she keeps being negative in the house. Hello? How can you compare that? So they explain something like that. If a man walks in the street and all of a sudden there's pouring rain, you become wet from head to toe. You have to run all the way to the house. It's another 10 minutes of running until you reach the house. You're soaked, wet and everything, and still it doesn't bother you so much. You know why? Big deal. People need rain in the world. Rain is something very needed. Rain is something very, very positive. Rain is something very, very good. However, if you're going to get into the house and then you see the roof is leaking, it's going to bother you. Bother you much more than you being soaked outside. Why is it going to bother you so much? Because at home, you're not supposed to have leaking rain. Okay? So what did the rabbi explain here? The rabbi is explaining something like that. They say that a man can cope with any dispute out of the house, with any disagreement with his boss, with his co-worker, with his colleague, something that his bank manager told him in the bank, somebody told him in the post office, or in the gym, or by the doctor. He can cope with this. He has no problem with this. He can hear rebukes. He can hear all kind of stuff that people will tell him. He can accept it. He's no problem with this. But once he comes home and he hears these complaints, these rebukes, these negative comments from his wife, this he doesn't want to tolerate. Why? Because a man, Hashem created him to be outside the house. A man is usually the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's managing of all the deals, all whatever you have to take care of outside the house. This is the man's job. This is his role in the house. He's fine with this. Hashem gave him tools for dealing with this kind of stuff. But to come home, in a way, his shelter, in a way, your warm nest, and to get from your wife that you're bad, that you're evil, that you're not listening, that you're this, that you're that, this he doesn't want to accept. This he doesn't want to control, to get it from his wife. This he cannot tolerate. So now you can understand sometimes why guys are coming late to the house. He finished his job at 7 or 8 o'clock. Why is he coming home only at 11:30? So he says, I had a shiur, or I had to go to my mom, or I had to go. But what's the real reason? Why he comes late every day? If not because he doesn't feel so welcomed at home. His wife, he comes home and she's like, I also had a tough day. What do you want from me? I didn't sit the whole day next to Facebook and I want to check what's in there, my status or whatever people watch in there, right? Or whatever she may say. And a smart woman, if she wants a good relationship with her husband, she has to understand that his shelter, okay, is his house. If you don't make it something warm and welcoming, he feels that he's not welcome at home, okay? So he's going to come late. I don't know what else he's going to do there. Hopefully nothing more, right? If you want to attract your husband, you have to be honey. You want to be sweet. You want to be good. Let him feel welcome at home. And then once he feels good and everything, and he relaxed and everything, then he can manage this, and then he can take care of that shelf or that flat tire or whatever it's going to be. So very important that a woman will welcome her husband warmly, and even though you had a tough, sometimes if the rabbis say this, the opposite too. If you had to go outside to work and he stayed home for that moment, either for babysitting for the kids or for other reasons, he needs to welcome you nicely too, because you're coming outside to the house. So he needs to welcome you nicely too. Yeah, this is very important. Dr. John Gottman, we mentioned him previous times too. He is a big researcher in marital problems or whatever, and he created a formula that people will be able to express in a right way their complaints, so that the other person, the partner, won't feel that he's attacked, okay, under attack. So number one, express your feelings. Instead of blaming him, okay, accusing him, okay, start always, there are some women that always start a sentence like, but you never, okay, these sentences are not acceptable, and no one listens to these sentences anyway, and they lead to all arguments and fights. There's no need to use you always, you never, yeah? So explain in a pleasant tone, okay, how you feel. Don't say you're like this. Explain how you feel. I really felt upset or embarrassed or when the number two, talk to him about one circumstance, one situation that bothers you. Don't start telling him about all the other incidents that happened in the past that bothered you today too. Because if you again over dramatic stuff, he's not going to listen to this. Tell him one thing at a time. Today, what bothered me today, that the shelf fell and all my dishes, whatever, yeah? So, number three, offer a practical suggestions or suggestion in the end of the conversation, okay? If you feel, for example, that he doesn't call you throughout the day, he is not interested, or there's lack of communication between you, offer him. Maybe he's going to accept. Maybe you put a reminder on your phone that whenever you have free time, you can call me. Maybe, offer him something and let's see what he says about this. So, one day, a very, very quick-tempered grandfather came to visit, his son's family. So, afternoon came and he was very tired, so he dozed off, he napped or something. His grandson wanted to play a prank. He wanted to have some fun. So he put on his mustache, he put some cheese, Roquefort cheese. I guess it's something that smells very, very bad. So he put this on and ran away. All of a sudden, this grandfather woke up from the smell. And he's like, oh, it stinks here, oh, it stinks here. He understood that this is in that room, so he ran out of the room. He went to another room, it stinks over there too. He went to another room, it stinks over there too. He's trying to look for a place that doesn't stink so much, doesn't find. Eventually he went outside of the house and he said, oh, everything stinks, even the world stinks. Yeah? So every one of us, we look, at the life in a certain screens that we create in our mind. If our head is filled up with positive thinking, we are going to see positive in everything. But if we keep thinking that everything is negative, we are going to see negative things in everything. So it says about a young artist that just finished learning 5 long years. He learned art, how to draw, how to paint, something very beautiful. And he wanted to see if he's really, if he really knows how to draw and how to paint. So he made a very, very special creation. He drew a beautiful picture, a lot of details. He really invested a lot into it. It took him a few days to paint it, to draw it. And then he put it on a certain display in one of the shopping centers. And he wrote underneath, he said, I'm a new artist, I'm just a beginner. If anyone sees that there's a mistake, whether with the colors or anything in the picture, please put an X, mark an X on that area, and I will try to fix it. And he put all this with this black marker underneath, and he left. The next day he came and he was shocked. He saw so many X's on that picture, on that painting. Here X, here. So many people made X's. He felt devastated. He thought, there's no future in him and he won't be able to be a good artist. He went back to his teacher. He told him, what should I do? Look at what happened. The teacher told him, please try to paint this all from the beginning again, and let's try another try. It took him another 3 days to draw the same picture, and they went to a different shopping center now, and they put it in the display, and the teacher now wrote, I'm a new beginner artist, and please, if you see any mistake, any problem, fix it and improve it. And he put a pen underneath, or a brush or something, and put it, and then they left. He comes after a week to check on this. Nobody did anything. He came after 2 weeks. Nobody wrote anything. Month passed. He came with his with the teacher now, and they observed it and they watched and they see that no one wrote anything. So the teacher is telling him, what do you think happened? He says, I don't know. The teacher told him, you wrote, if there's any mistake or any problem, please mark an X. I wrote, if there's any problem or any mistake, please improve it and fix it. People are full of negative remarks and complaints. They will do. But no one can really fix or improve a creation, a beautiful piece of art that you created. This is how most of the people. Don't listen to those that come and rebuke you constantly when they don't offer an advice how to fix the problem, what to do with this. If you come to your husband and you tell him, you're like this, you're like that, you're not like this, or not, I don't like it this, and that, you don't offer solutions, don't rebuke. Okay? So it's very important also how we do certain things. Okay, stories, Baruch Hashem. There was one king that, we're talking about paintings, I'll tell you another one. A king went for a hunt once, and his horse got scared from some reason, became wild, started to jump. Miskin, this king fell from this horse, got injured very, very badly. It took him so long, to heal. It didn't really heal completely because they had to amputate Lalen one of his legs. He lost his eye, and his hand was hanging in a weird angle, whatever, something wrong happened there. After so much rehabilitation, after so much treatment and everything, he was devastated. He was upset. He was depressed. Didn't know what to do with himself. This doctor, this king. One of his advisors suggested, he wanted to cheer him up, to amuse him a little bit. He told him, you know something? Make a competition. Whoever can draw you the best. Make a nice drawing of you. So he made this a competition. He announced, whoever comes and can say, I'll give him a big reward or something. Came a painter and started to paint him the way that he sees him. He was one of the famous painters, and he did a beautiful job. When the king saw it, after a month working on it, the king saw it, he saw exactly his image. But he didn't like it, because how does he look like now? He looks terrible. He didn't like the way he looks. He dismissed him, he punished him, he didn't want to look at him. Another painter came and drew him in a very pinky way, beautiful. He made him a young lad, tall, handsome, muscular, no blemish, no problem. The king didn't like it. It's not me. What are you talking about? Making fun of me? He didn't like it. Then came another one. This one, he was smart. He thought, what does the king wants exactly? Obviously, he didn't like the way he looked. He didn't like when we beautify him too much. What can I do to please him? So he took his brushes and everything. He painted a beautiful painting of the king. He took the good part of the king, not the bad part. He had one side was weird and whatever. He took him riding on his beautiful horse from the other side, the side that is healthy. So you see that the leg is beautiful, is healthy. You see that the hand, you see the eyes, one side, in the profile. This is the king liked very much. Why? Because the wisdom is, to empower your husband's good qualities, and don't pay attention, ignore some of his disadvantages. Because if you talk too much about his disadvantages, you're not really helping him, you're not really helping you. You want to help someone? Empower him. Make him great. Make him feel that he's special. Make him feel that he could do it, that he could change. You got up this morning, Baruch Hashem. You can breathe. Lungs functioning. Kidneys are working. You're able to see. You're able to hear. You're able to smell. You're able to feel, to sense certain things, right? Your husband woke up. He's healthy. He's good. He's going to work. He's providing. He's going every day, and he brings, constantly every month a good salary home. Everything works out. You have a shelter. You have a roof on top of you. Everything works out. Concentrate on this. Don't concentrate on the fact that, but yesterday you promised me to take us out to the restaurant. But you promised me that we're going to go out to this trip or to this cruise or something, and it didn't happen. Or Your nephew came the other day and scratched the furniture over here. How it's going to look like? What we're going to do with this now? How we're going to buy? How we're going to fix it? Or don't focus on these things. Focus on the good things, and we have so many good things in life. We don't appreciate. Unfortunately, we had once a man that his wife got so sick. It was the Corona time. And she didn't make it. And he told the rabbi later, he told him, you know something, we used to have a lot of arguments between us. But I'm missing these arguments. I wish I would have these arguments today. I didn't appreciate her. Now, you see things in a different angle, often a different perspective. It makes you feel, So, how do we get happiness? Happiness comes when we stop complaining about the troubles we have, okay? And thank God for all the troubles that we don't have. We're focusing on so many things that we're able to do. We're focusing on Him, on the fact that He's there, that He's helping, that Baruch Hashem, you have children, Baruch Hashem, you have, I don't have to tell you, you have everything, right? Focus on this. When you focus on this, you are the happiest person. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you.